So cardamom is a note that I'm really starting to love in a lot of different fragrances. It adds a really sort of sexy, fresh, spicy element to a lot of fragrances that I've smelled that particular note in. So in today's video, I have 5 fragrances that I have in my collection that feature the note of cardamom that I really enjoy. So if you're interested, stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Jamar from Vegas Scents. And again, if you are brand new to this channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, to anyone watching, leave a like and a comment. And if any of you all shop at either Oud Store, Bandit Fragrance, or TripleTraders.com, definitely be sure to use my discount code VegasScents10. That'll get you an extra 10% off of your purchase from those stores. And I'll also have different links in the description to where you can actually purchase all of the fragrances on this particular list. All right. So the first fragrance that I'm going to start off with on this list, this is going to be a clone from Fragrance World, and this is their take on Tom Ford's Oud Wood. This is Oud Wonder. All right. So I know a lot of people, when it comes to like this sort of Tom Ford clones, a lot of people probably are more so familiar with the ones from Maison Alhambra. I went ahead and decided to just go ahead and take a look at this one from Fragrance World, just simply because I really enjoy Fragrance World's fragrances. Typically, at least in my opinion, most of their clones are pretty top notch. You know, when it comes to quality, when it comes to accuracy. And I mean, in some cases, I may get longevity issues, like, you know, maybe when you first, spray the fragrance on after it's been shipped to you. But typically what happens is normally after about a month or two, these fragrances really start to gain a lot of strength, and they really start to perform pretty well. So this gives you a really sort of fresh, spicy cardamom mixed with like pepper, and I would say it's not really a oud smell. It's more so kind of like a woody sort of aroma chemical sort of smell to this fragrance. But in my opinion, this is very sort of masculine, very, like I said, sort of fresh, spicy with the cardamom and pepper mix that you get with this. It does have, I would say, a touch of like some sweetness in this as well, especially in the dry down from like the vanilla and the amber. But overall, man, this is very good. I do get pretty decent performance out of this, about, I would say, 6 to 7 hours or so. When I first got this fragrance, I would say this probably only lasted about maybe 4 hours or so on me. So it's definitely getting stronger. And again, this is going to be Oud Wonder from Fragrance World. All right, so the next one up, this is going to be also from the House of Fragrance World. This is actually going to be from their F8 Paris line, and this is going to be Francique 63.55. So I've done plenty of videos on this fragrance. This is the clone of Gris Charnel, the EDP. And this is pretty much, it is, I would say, definitely a sort of fresh, spicy cardamom, but also it kind of is, I would say, a little bit more on the sweeter side. Almost, I would say, going towards like the sweetness of sort of like La Nuit de l'Homme almost. But this definitely, I would say, it has a different feel than what La Nuit de l'Homme has. At least to me, this doesn't necessarily come off as powdery as what La Nuit de l'Homme does. This definitely has a little bit more of kind of like a creaminess to it. And I would say even like a slight wateriness, from like the black tea and the fig that you get from this fragrance as well. But this is a very, very nice fragrance. I would say it is pretty unisex. It maybe leans slightly feminine. I would absolutely love it if Fragrance World did like I would say like a clone of like the extrait. The extrait, I would say, even though I'm not necessarily in love with how strong the cardamom is in the extrait, because that definitely comes off a lot stronger and punchier in that fragrance. I would say once you start to get to the dry down, I do probably enjoy the dry down of the extrait a little bit more than what I do the EDP, which is what this one is cloning. But again, this is a very, very nice sort of cardamom, watery fig and green tea, or I'm sorry, not green tea, but black tea sort of scent. And this is a very nice fragrance. Again, this is going to be F.A. Paris Fragrance World's Francique 63.55. All right, so the next one, this is going to be from the house of the Woods collection, and this is going to be the Woods collection's Dusk. This is their take on Parfums de Marly's Layton. And this is a very, very nice, high quality clone of Parfums de Marly's Layton. Now, this fragrance, I would say, at least in like the immediate opening, this isn't necessarily 100%, close to Layton. This definitely shines a lot more in terms of what the dry down of Layton smells like. This comes extremely close to what the dry down of Layton smells like. And I mean, I feel like for most people, that's probably the part of Layton that, most people sort of prefer. So I think that's why they sort of went for, that sort of touch on the fragrance in this interpretation of it. I get extremely good performance on this fragrance. The projection, I would say, is also a little bit more than what I get from more recent batches of, Parfums de Marly's Layton. I can't really speak to, how it performs in terms of, like the older or original batches of Layton, only because I've never actually owned one of those bottles. But, from what it seems like, those bottles were really, really beast mode. This, you get pretty good performance. I would say it's not necessarily like super beast mode, but it does perform better, at least than, the original does, at least in my opinion anyway. All right. So if you're looking for a really sort of sexy, fresh, spicy cardamom scent mixed with like apple and vanilla, this is absolutely the one that you want to go with. And again, this is going to be the Woods collection Dusk. All right, so again, from the House of Fragrance World, this is a clone of one of the Middle Eastern flankers of Dolce & Gabbana's The One. This is going to be the clone of Dolce & Gabbana's The One Royal Nights. And this is the one and only Golden Nights. All right. So this fragrance, at least in my opinion anyway, this does smell very close to like the sort of original The One DNA. I would say, definitely kind of like a mixture of The One EDT and The One EDP. The main difference though that I would say with this fragrance is it's like those two fragrances sort of combined, but if you were to remove that, tobacco note from the fragrance, I would say like if you were to remove the tobacco and the grapefruit from those fragrances and then basically add in, some cardamom to give it that sort of fresh, spicy element, as well as some nutmeg as well. So it does smell, like I said, a lot like those fragrances, but it does have a different, sort of smell at the same time. Definitely more of sort of like a fresh, spicy sort of feel. And because of that, I would say I do get a little bit more projection out of this fragrance, as well as, just overall longevity, I would say is also slightly better with this fragrance as well. I do not have a sample of the original fragrance just yet, so I can't say how close this comes to the original. But pretty much, I would say if you like Dolce & Gabbana's The One, whether it be the EDT or EDP, then you'll probably like this fragrance as well. This, in my opinion, it doesn't really smell like Middle Eastern or anything like that, in my opinion. So, like I said, it smells the closest, I would say, out of the sort of, Middle Eastern flankers that I've smelled. This definitely smells the closest to the original scent profile. So again, this is going to be the one and only Golden Nights from Fragrance World. And then the last fragrance on this list, this is going to be one of the newest releases from Lattafa. And this is Lattafa's Khamrah Qahwa. All right. So there is a pretty good dosage of cardamom in this particular scent. Now, pretty much the Qahwa, which, basically it stands for or, means like, coffee in, I guess, Arabic. From what I understand is the coffee that's being referred to in this fragrance it is like a Middle Eastern style coffee that, you know, has kind of like crushed cardamom in the coffee. So it kind of gives it a different sort of, you know, aroma, a different sort of feel, different sort of taste than, you know, what I would say, you know, your average sort of United States or French coffee would be like. So you do get that, you know, from this fragrance, in my opinion. It does add sort of like this sort of, you know, fresh spiciness, especially in the opening of this fragrance. And I mean, I kind of smell it all throughout, especially like once you start to, you know, really sort of sense the coffee note coming out in this fragrance. So whereas Khamrah has more of kind of like a super sweet apple cinnamon sort of spice to it, this is again sort of like that fresh, spicy cardamom, ginger mixed with that sort of coffee note as well. So I really, really love the way that this smells. I've been wearing this one, I would say, more than the original Khamrah so far. So, you know, definitely over time, you know, that'll only tell whether or not I actually prefer this fragrance over the original or not. But I would say so far, I think I am actually preferring this one over the original Khamrah. So definitely check this one out, man. Again, this is going to be Lattafa Khamrah Qahwa. So that's the list, man. That is my list of my sort of favorite cardamom scents that I have in my collection when it comes to like Middle Eastern clones. So definitely let me know what you all thought of this list. Let me know, have you all smelled these fragrances? And if so, what do you all think about these fragrances? Do you like them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Are they just okay? Let me know in the comments. And again, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And once again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.